Breaking news just in. President Trump has revoked the security clearances of more than a dozen officials, including his predecessor, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the former vice president, Hillary Clinton, Liz Cheney, and several others. The prosecutors who went after him, Alvin Bragg, and others. Joining us in our fifth seat on this is Paul Rieckhoff. He's the founder and CEO of the Independent Veterans of America and is an Army veteran who served in Iraq. This is a continuation, Paul, of what we've seen Trump do. He's rescinding these security clearances. He's blocking their access to secure federal buildings. And it seems this is all just about retribution.
It seems that way. I mean, it's unprecedented, but I also think the bigger question we've got to ask is this good for our national security? Is it good to have a current president locking out the former president? And I think it just deepens a divide that exists between the last administration and this one, which at the end of the day, if you put partisanship aside, I don't think is good for our national security. And I think that's the prism we have to look at everything through this week, where we talk about Elon Musk, we talk about the cuts at the Pentagon, we talk about the trans purge that's going on. All of it has to be seen beyond the partisanship and about what's urgent for our national security and how it impacts things like the morale of our troops, the morale of our intelligence personnel, the morale of our FBI. That does matter. And I think the ongoing chaos is maybe the thing that I want to underscore. Chaos is not good for our national security. Our enemies celebrate chaos, and every 10 minutes or so, we've got a new reason to have chaos.
My phone started blowing up. Look at Tulsi Gabbard's tweet. And Anderson, President Trump had said he was going to do this several weeks ago, right after we secured a court order in one of our cases at Democracy Defenders, protecting thousands of FBI agents from retaliation for working on January 6 cases. So you really have to see this as a kind of a backhanded compliment. We're working on over a dozen cases, and we've gotten those orders in many of the cases in response to illegal behavior by the administration. And this is more retaliation. Plenty of lawyers are going to stand up to it.
And Aaron, in terms of the retaliation, it's revoking security clearances. What else?
There are also firms that work with big companies that have government contracts, and Trump is asking to investigate those government contracts and potentially revoke them. Which
so not related to the case they're working on, just any government contract this firm may have.
Right. I mean, if you read the executive orders, it's very clear that the firms are being targeted, not the work they're doing necessarily. Even the one about Jack Smith is about the firm being the problem. Wow. And the second was much more sweeping. It called for investigations into DEI practices, revoking of government contracts. You mentioned access to federal buildings. It's written a little broadly, so it's not clear if that means federal courthouses. And the second law firm, Perkins Coie, has said that they see it as patently unlawful, the move, and they will challenge.
And Norm, I mean, for you, this feels like, I mean, administrations have had contentious relationships, you know, with law firms in the past, but this feels like they're pulling levers which have not been pulled before.
I agree.
Anderson, it's illegal. It's a violation of the Constitution. The first time they try to keep me out of a courthouse will be right in front of a judge within minutes. I guarantee you that judge will have me in the courthouse. You have to understand it in a pattern, Anderson.
All right, I'm not trying to hear this dweeb no more.
I'm confused on why he thinks he should have security clearances.
What was his title?
It says he was a lawyer. He was a counsel to House Dems. Remember, he owns that group.
The Fight for Democracy or some crap. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with it. I mean, if they took Trump's, hey, why don't they take theirs? And then guess what, though? What did they do with their stuff? All these top secret stuff? Hey, I wouldn't want Kamala Harris having top secret information. Hell no.
I mean, well, she already had it. We'll see how that ended, though.
So I went on Grok. I asked, why did he revoke security clearances of law firms? It says he didn't do any of the full law firms, but he went after individual lawyers, legal officials, and former government figures involved in investigations, lawsuits, and criticisms against him.
Yeah, I can see that. I definitely can see that.
We did say he was going to do it.
They've been smearing him, bro. bro. Like,
Yeah, so it says he revoked security clearances from lawyers and people that were against him: Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Norm Eisen, that guy we just heard, Mark Zaid, and Andrew Wiseman. Wiseman is a FBI general counsel member and had an investigation in Trump's 2016 campaign. Mark Zaid is an attorney for federal whistleblowers against Trump, and Norm Eisen served against the Trump during his first impeachment and other legal antecedents. And we know who Letitia James and Alvin Braggs are. So, hey, man, I don't really think that's a problem.
not a problem at all. If y'all did anything that was not what was in line with the American people, your security clearance might need to be gone. Point blank, period. If
You just want somebody with no biased take. That's
Bro,
pretty much
exactly.
it.
And if you smeared him with false information, then hey, your security clearance needs to be gone. We're going to give you top secret information and you just lied to the American people.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
It says it's retribution for them coming after him, and he claimed national security concerns. Well,
That's what it is.
There it is. I 100% agree.
When it comes to the Bidens, I mean, given the family's long history of influence peddling and dealings with shady people overseas, I think cutting them off from national security information is frankly a pretty good idea. That's number one. Number two, some of these people and their affiliates and the people they're associated with at the upper reaches of the Democratic Party have proven time and again that they are willing to abuse their adjacency to national security information for political purposes. We all remember the 51 intelligence people who signed the Hunter Biden laptop letter, for instance. And so I think what Donald Trump is doing is sending a strong message. No longer are people like this who float in and out of government going to be able to abuse their national security access for political purposes. And let me just tell you something. What goes around comes around, because as David just said, they cut off Donald Trump in 2021. You want to play the game? Now you got to play it when you're on the other side of the field.
Is there a logical end to the tit for political tat? Is this where it ends?
Look, it'll come to an end when Democrats who go in and out of government stop abusing their access to and adjacency to national security information for political purposes. I mean, there is no doubt that the top reaches of the Democratic Party have used their adjacency and access to this information, and then the fact that people know they have that access, they use that as credibility to then make political arguments against people they don't like, such as Donald Trump. They use that credibility to try to get the news media to report things that they say, such as the Hunter Biden laptop letter. There is a rational basis, Elliot, for doing this, and it's to put a stop to people using this kind of imprimatur for political reasons. So it'll come to an end when people stop abusing this kind of access. And one more issue, I just think far too many people in Washington have this kind of clearance anyway. And many people in both parties have acknowledged there's too many people with security clearances. Maybe this will start a conversation about ratcheting down the number of people who have access to this kind of information.
Let's talk about Norm Eisen and Mark Zaid, who are both attorneys, colleagues of ours as well. And they are among the attorneys that are on this list of those who have their access revoked. They have been prominent critics of the president.
They're more than just vocal critics. These are not people who just occasionally pop up and exercise their free speech rights. I mean, Norm is one of the most detestable people I've ever met in this business, and he is like one of the principal architects of the lawfare against Donald Trump. So if I were the president of the United States, you're damn right. I'm not going to let somebody run around with a national security clearance who is out there doing everything in his power to derail my presidency after I was duly elected, not once, but twice. So you know what? Long overdue, and I'm glad he did it.
Hey, stand on business.
I have to agree. I have to agree. And I do like the point that he made. Why do all these people have all those security clearances? Like,
If
why
y'all
do
don't got nothing to do with this.
That's what I'm saying. Like, y'all not even in the White House, and you're obviously against Trump. Why would you have access to the information that they're classified and moving, like documents and stuff? Like, why do they have access to that?
When you have no say in what's about to happen.
That's what I'm saying. And especially if they're against Trump. Imagine what they could do with that information.
Sell it to a whole nother country.
Oh, man.
China, Russia.
That is a national security threat.
I told you he was with Russia.
Yeah, man. That is a national security threat. I think.
Common sense.
Yeah, man. But when you put all the data together,
Close the doors.
it really makes sense.
Yeah, you gotta lock up the house, man. Close the doors.
Hey, man, Lucy, if you got a leak in the ship, you got to patch it.
Yeah.
Hey, it hasn't been one issue, one thing that Donald Trump has done that I don't agree with that we couldn't put together. That's common sense.
Hey.
Point blank, period. And the media always finds a way to smear it and make sure it's a bad thing and make it just a scary thing for the American people. And that's sad, man. And Donald Trump calling him out, he won, and that's what it is, guys. Let us know what y'all think.